Welcome to Pioneer on Sports. I'm William. Joining me is Coach Jim McGuire, head coach of Volunteer State Baseball here. Coach, I heard you talking about St. Louis Cardinals. My family grew up in the St. Louis area. My first question is, with the passing of Whitey Herzog, you got to see some legendary coaches, Whitey Herzog, Tony La Russa. I guess we can throw Mike Matheny in there if you want. How did they influence you as a coach?
Well, Whitey Herzog passing away, special person, especially to the community. He grew up in New Athens, Illinois, and I grew up in Belleville, Illinois. Went to Freeburg, Illinois High School, which is big rivalry with New Athens. So, have always grown up around that name, and only got to meet him one time. I've got an autographed picture at my house, not with him, but he signed it for me. So some great managers, some great baseball people. They say baseball heaven. I mean, I'm biased to Busch Stadium and everything. Growing up around there, but loved Whitey Herzog. Got to go to the World Series in 1982 when they won, it's been such a big part of my life growing up around the Cardinals and around Cardinal baseball, and they always say the Cardinal way. But that's been passed on from manager to manager. And I like La Russa. I know his style was totally different than Whitey's and kind of how they went about it. But even Joe Torre, when he was there, when you were going way back with some of them, and Red Schoendienst and, people like that, it's just, it was a great situation to be involved in. We'd always go to games and feel sorry for people that were, fans of other teams that didn't have that tradition and those people to kind of look up to and go through, whether it was players or managers. But Whitey Herzog passing yesterday I saw it right away pop up. My sisters, everybody were texting me, making sure that I had seen it with what had happened.
Yeah, it's a big loss for baseball in general. The Cardinal way. The Cardinals have been historically a good franchise. Hit a couple rough patches past couple seasons. How do you as a coach deal with, we've been good, but, we hit a skid. Winning cures all ill.
It definitely does. And right now we've been through a season like that, where there's been a lot of ups and downs. And this is my third year. So the first year I thought we were good. Last year we made a lot of progress and had a really good season. And you just think it's just going to pick up right where you left off and keep going, and it didn't do that. We started out a little bit slow, then started playing pretty well, and then we hit the skids for a while, for about a 3-week period. And so you're trying to do a lot of different things, with the players, with the team, both from a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint, of what you have to do to get better and how you got to overcome when things aren't going very well. And then these last 3 weeks, things have started to play better. We won a couple games yesterday, and we only won one over the weekend, but we were way more competitive than what we have been. So I think sometimes baseball is such a sport of failure, more so than any other sport that's out there, that the mental side of it ends up, the wear and tear of that, because you play so many games. I think the mental side of it ends up being the part you got to address more than anything. And I think you really see that at the big league level with playing 162 games, to think about what it takes physically to do that, but what does it take mentally through spring training and through what you did in the winter and your preparation. And then when things aren't going well, how do you overcome that as you go forward? But I think the mental side plays a big part of it.
Speaking of the mental side, my dad played single-A baseball. He always said he was the sixth man on a 5-man rotation. How do you deal with that sixth man? Maybe he knows this is going to be one of his last seasons in baseball. I know when I was playing in high school, my senior year, I knew this is it for me. As a coach, though, how do you deal with that player?
Yeah, I try to make every player understand. We had this conversation a couple weeks ago that each day, that's one less day that you're going to have, and it's one day closer to the end, whether the end is after this season, whether it's after you go on, but you've got to take advantage and live in that moment of every day. Don't take that day for granted, because it is to the end. And it's the same way as a coach. I mean, we're not all going to coach forever. So you're getting, each day that goes by is one less day you get that opportunity to do that, to put the uniform on or to be out on the field or be with your teammates or whatever it is. So I try to make them understand you got to live in that moment. You got to live in the moment of where you're at. And whatever that looks like. For some, it's knowing, hey, they've still got 6, 7, 8 years to play. I don't know what that looks like, but some, tomorrow's not given to you, so you don't know. You're an injury away from it being your last day. So I think that's a big piece of it. But the work ethic and being a good teammate and being a part of that, I think, can help overshadow some of that and not make it such a mental stress to where you get consumed by it, which I think players today do. I think you get so consumed by it because there's so much out there and there's so much analytical data and everything that you're not living up to this expectation or you're not hitting this mark or that mark or whatever. But just live in the moment, live for that day, go day by day, and then try to just be the best player that you can be. And then hopefully that leads to you getting more opportunities, and then that leads to more success on the field.
Thank you. Coach Jim McGuire, thank you guys for joining us. I'm William with Pioneer Iron Sports. Thanks so much for watching.